All right, we got Coach C.J. Marshall here. How you doing, Coach?
I'm good. How you doing?
Bolton High head football coach and athletic director. You teach as well, right?
I do.
What you teach? What
So I currently teach rec games, and I have one Lifetime Wellness Club.
Okay, yes, sir. So, Coach, let's get into it. What was your first coaching job?
So I actually got into coaching back in like 2013.
Okay.
I was playing ball at University of Memphis, getting ready to transfer, and I was helping out at Jeter Middle School. A lot of people don't even know about me coaching at Jeter Middle School.
Yeah.
But after coaching at Jeter for a year, I ended up transferring to Lane College, finished up, came back home. My first job was actually Bolton.
Okay.
So I was an assistant coach for 2 years at Bolton High School, went to Kingsbury for a year, and then came back to Bolton as the head coach.
Okay. So why did you transfer from Lane? From Memphis to Lane.
So, you know how it is, you in college, the first staff I was recruited by, Larry Port and his staff, Coach Eric Price, they recruited me. They ended up leaving, getting fired or whatever, pursuing other jobs. Okay. So I stayed in when Justice Fuente came in, went through the coaching change, played a little on special teams, but wasn't getting a whole lot of carries at the running back position. So I had to make a career decision. Was headed to UT Martin. But of course, on the way to UT Martin, you got to pass through Lane. So Coach Derek Burrows at the time, he was the head coach of AD at Lane. He played at Memphis, was in tune with the program, had like 4 or 5 of my teammates already transferred there. Okay. And so it was easy transition going on.
Definitely, the chemistry too. Yeah. So going back to the first coaching job at Jeter, that was in 2013. Did you have any kids from that time that you coached? Go on to have any great careers in college?
That was a while back. If I can remember correctly, that was around the time Kendrick and all them guys who came through fairly. Okay. The team Gene had that was pretty solid. A lot of those guys came up from that Jeter program. Okay. I don't want to name a whole lot of names because that was a long time ago. And I ain't gonna lie, I don't remember exactly all those guys. But we definitely had a core group of kids that came through at the time who went on and played at Fairleigh. Some of those guys went to Division I schools, JUCO schools, and they had successful careers. So yeah, that was a good group.
Yes, sir. So let's get into it, Coach. So what inspired you to become a coach?
Man, funny story. I actually did not want to be a coach. You the first person that ever asked me this question, first person to get this story. So of course, growing up, being a standout athlete, my goal was to go to the league. That was my plan A. Plan B for me was opening my own training facility. Some kind of like D1 sports, but having it in the spectrum to where you train not only football athletes, but basketball, track, the whole 9 yards. Growing up in high school, I played football, basketball, baseball, ran track. I did it all. So it's one of those deals where I feel like if I wasn't able to play professionally, I wanted to open up my doors to be able to give my knowledge and all that back to those athletes I trained. The whole time, I was speaking into existence, being a coach, but I didn't see it as that way. So fast forward, I finished up college, fall 2015. I'm married at the time, had my first child. So I'm like, man, I got to quit chasing this goal of making it to the league. I got to be a man, take care of my family. Graduated with honors from Lane, got a degree in physical education, came back to the city. Every job I applied for, I was just trying to get a job, work, go home. That was my plan. But looking at my resume, you gonna coach? You gonna coach? You gonna coach?
Yes, sir.
Like, no, excuse me, I ain't trying to do all that. It's one of them things where I'm just trying to get a job, feed my family. That's cool. Long story short, school was coming around, still didn't have no job. I said, look, if me coaching gonna give me a job, then I do it. So I started working at Bolton as a campus monitor, part-time job, but I was coaching. The following year, I became full-time employee, still coaching. And it was one of those deals where when I had my first game as an assistant coach, you still get that adrenaline rush, the whole preparation behind the game. It feels as though you get ready to play, but the difference is you just teaching these young men how to go out and do it. So that's actually how I got into coaching, and it was the best decision I could have made.
Okay, I love it. So from you being a coach, what's your calling card? What's the side of the ball that you specialize in?
I'm a football coach. I make that clear. But majority of my career, I've been primarily an offensive guy.
Okay.
Started off coaching running backs, being that I played that position in college. Although quarterback was my first position, I played running back in college. So I've coached running backs, I've coached receivers, I've coached quarterbacks as well. So I've coached pretty much every position, along with some defensive positions too, but I'm primarily the offensive guy.
Okay. So since being a head coach, what are the greatest challenge that you have faced over the span of coaching?
The greatest challenge I have faced, and this goes back to one of the interview questions I was asked when I interviewed, what's my weakness as a coach? You know, going into that, you don't think you have a weakness as a coach, but looking back on things and knowing what I know now, to answer your question directly, was trying to save everybody. I'm one of those people. I have a heart for the kids. I pride myself on being a coach beyond the game. That's who I am. That's my motto. You see when I put stuff on social media, I hashtag CBTG, being a coach beyond the game. So my biggest issue was always trying to save everybody. I wanted those kids that nobody wanted to deal with. People kind of, cast out because, I come from an area in North Memphis where that's common. You get what I'm saying? So to be able to take those kids in, show them they can be something and do, that was my biggest thing. And probably the biggest reason for this because I had guys like my little league coaches playing for the Memphis Bears, Craig Little, Devin Coleman, Jimmy Sullivan, my dad, Clarence Marshall Jr., who took those same type of guys in, cultivated them, pushed them, and they became so. You get what I'm saying?
So when did you realize that you can't help and can't save every child?
When I started coaching. Primarily when I became a head coach. When you assistant coach, man, you see things differently. You see what the head coach deal with from a different lens. But when you actually sit in that seat and have to deal with everything that comes with that position, you get some of those phone calls and that people don't see or people don't hear about. So that's when it hit home for me, being in the head coaching role and now being the athletic director as well. You see a lot of kids who come in, whether they be male or female, they need you, and you try your best to help them, but some of them ain't gonna always take the help.
And then sometimes the kids not realizing and not trying to do it intentionally, but they shoot you in the back sometimes,
That's true. You can lose a job trying to save a child.
So 2019 was when you became the head coach, right?
Correct.
This was the first, after you took on the head coaching duties, first winning season in 10 years. How did this success feel? And what did you and your coaching staff do to get this reward result?
I'm going to correct you. So my first season, we won one game.
Okay.
So the year before that, before I took over, they were 0-10.
Okay.
So my first year, we went 1-9. Second year, we went 2-8. COVID hit, we didn't play. Then we went 4-6. So last year, technically, was my first winning season at Bolton. We went 7-3, hosted a home playoff game for the first time in over a decade. And then we turned around this year and went 8-2. So things have just begun to start turning for us at Bolton High School. But it's definitely been a situation where we had to get it out the mud.
How do it feel to finally get the results?
I feel great. Mainly because I went to Bolton. Although I grew up I'm from North Memphis, grew up in Fraser. So a little bit of both. But one of those deals where we moved to Raleigh, so I was buzzed to Bolton based on where I stayed at. So going there, experiencing Bolton, then it's a lot like your like your Bartlett's, your Houston's and things like that. That was the landscape of Bolton then. So to go back and see how much it had changed as far as the demographics, facilities, the amount of time, money they put into the school, and come back and see what it is, like it was tough to see that. So it's one of those deals where, although I knew what I was getting myself into, I had to, go back to that pride that was instilled in us while I was there. And so I had to dig deep, roll my sleeves up and get at the mud, as I stated earlier.
So what did you do different as the head coach versus that 1-10 season versus now to when you actually get the results? It was more so of you just learning from the experience?
It definitely was a learning experience being a head coach versus just being a regular assistant coach. But the biggest thing is being consistent. Going into the Bolton situation, I didn't have the guys that fit what it is we was trying to do schematically in all phases of the game. So it took a little bit of promoting our school, promoting what we had to offer, promoting the facilities that we do have, and showing people that you can get it done at Bolton. So having guys, like my starting quarterback, for the past 4 years, Darian Washington, guys like Darnell, Eli, to come in, you know, and fit our scheme to what we do and take it over the top. It took guys like that coming in. But shouts out to guys like Joshua Alexander, my boy Brian, you know, all those guys, Jaden, they laid the foundation for where we are now. Although we won 1 and 2 games while those guys were there, they saw this vision a long time ago.
Brick by brick.
They just ran out of time being with me. And like I said before COVID hit, we was getting ready to be pretty good that COVID year. Yeah. What we doing now, we was about to do then. But again, COVID hit, we didn't get a chance to play. I lost some guys. So where we are now, I'd say year 3 or 4, we was about to get ready to do that. But like I said, COVID hit, it set us back a little bit. But when we came back, we was able to regroup, and here we are now.
Yes, so let me ask you this. How do you select your assistant coaches or your position coaches? Is it more so off of who you got a great relationship with, or, you know, how's the recruiting process when you're reaching out for
It's a compilation of both. You definitely want to have guys you trust, you know, guys who are like-minded. And then, too, you want to have guys who kind of challenge you a little bit.
Yes.
So with my process, it was some guys I knew. My DC, he and I attended college together. It's one of those deals where we knew each other, but our relationship didn't grow to what it is now until we actually started coaching with one another. Yeah. So when I was at Kingsbury High School at the time, we was looking for a defensive coordinator. I knew he was a defensive-minded guy. He and I had reconnected when I moved back to the city. And it's one of those deals where he was for the help out at Kingsbury. Well, I ended up getting the Bolton job. I say, look, hey, I'm getting ready to go back home to Bolton, so I ain't gonna be at Kingsbury. Now, if you want to stay, that's cool. But if you want to roll with me, I'm off your invitation. He said when we start. So he was with me when I pulled up at Bolton, and the grass was above my ankles. You get what I'm saying? When we didn't have no practice areas. We only had 3 footballs. Like, people don't understand that, you know, Bolton had gotten bad. You get what I'm saying? It's one of those deals where we really had to roll our sleeves up. And when I say get out the mud, I'm not just throwing that phrase out there. We really had to do that. And he was the guy, day 0, right beside me. It was me, my dad, and him. Cutting grass, you know, doing what we had to do to get things ready for the guys to start working out and all that. And he's been with me, you know, for the past 6 years. He's helped me turn around. Again, hats off to Coach Rico Washington. He's going to be a head coach real soon.
Yes, so let me, how did that feel, man? So going 10 years ago, I say 10 years ago, because I graduated 2014. Bolton was, like you mentioned, one of those schools. And so going back and seeing it like that, especially with you coming from that school, graduating there, how did that feel to you? And how did that motivate you to turn it around, you know, wanting to be the reason?
First, seeing it was heartbreaking, because it was one of those deals where you never expect a school like Bolton to be in that state. But to see it, like I said, it was heartbreaking, but it lit something in me. I knew the potential that was at Bolton. I got all the calls, but you going back to Bolton? Like, it's a dead-end job. You're going to kill your career before it gets started. You know, I knew what I was getting myself into. I still knew a lot of the kids that was there. Again, I knew what facilities and what resources that were there. So I was just hoping that was still available for my usage. And I was able, like I said, to go back home, you know, and just do it the way I knew it can be done. And now here we are.
Yes, I love it. And I know this motivated, man. All right, so you was one or 2 selected head coaches for the All-Star team, for the blue team, right?
That's correct.
How was this experience? And how did you select your assistant coaches once you was elected head coach?
It's kind of like I said in my interview, when I interviewed News Channel 5 in regards to the All-Star. No, it's cool, but it's one of those deals where it was just a real moment. Because like I said, I've been an assistant coach in the All-Star game for the last 3 years, an official assistant coach. It's really been, is it 2 years? I think it's 2 or 3 years. But I got into the game volunteering. When I first became a head coach in 2019, I volunteered. Preston Harris, he was at Douglas at the time. He's now at Overton. He was the head coach for the blue team. So I went out there, connected with him. I volunteered. You know, I wasn't officially on the staff. The next year, Coach Stewart got the job from Briarcrest. He officially asked me to be his assistant. And then Coach Tyler Gold, he asked me to be an assistant the following year. And last year, Coach Calhoun and Mumford asked me to be an assistant. So it's been 3 years. I've been an official assistant, and I was a volunteer for 1 year. So I've been involved 4 years with this game. So again, sitting outside in the crowd and you seeing those guys on that podium, when you a guy like myself who have high aspirations, you envision yourself up there. So that's what I did. And I connected with guys like Dominic, who's affiliated with AutoZone Liberty Bowl Game, just stayed in communication with him. Selling myself, selling what I do as a coach. And I got that call to be the coach. So again, I was very appreciative for that. And as it pertains to accepting or picking my assistant coaches, what I did was I want to give guys opportunities. I know, with my platform, I have an opportunity to help and inspire. Definitely. And it's one of those deals where when I became an assistant coach, I made some promises to a couple of other young coaches that, look, when I ever get my shot, I'm going to lift as I climb. I'm going to bring you along with me. So guys like Coach Ruben at Raleigh Egypt, he was the main guy I told that to. A young guy like myself, fiery, passionate, hard worker. I knew he was trying to get in. So I had the platform to allow him to get in. So I pulled him through, along with guys like Coach Larry Fitzgerald at Mitchell. All right, Coach Clemens, who I was a teammate with at Lane, who was at Kirby. So I wanted to give young guys who was like myself, looking for an opportunity, trying to find a way to network and get in. I wanted to give those guys an opportunity. And I also took, the approach of bringing back Coach Gold, who gave me an opportunity. And I also added guys like Coach Storms at Wooddale, who's a veteran coach, has won a state championship, you know what I'm saying, but haven't had an opportunity to coach the game. To bring those guys along and tell Coach Gold thank you, and I also pay it forward with those other guys.
That would be, I love it. That's a lot of heart, man. Where do you think you get that side? Just that sense of just wanting to help out a lot, just be a helping hand. Where do you think that come from?
In this industry, I have to be honest. Minority coaches, we don't always get the same opportunities as my counterparts. There's no knock to them. It is what it is. But it's one of those things where we have to stick together as minority coaches and help one another out. That's what it is. Definitely. And I think the biggest thing, especially in Memphis and in Tennessee, for some reason, like a lot of coaches like to talk down on the next man or hate on the next man instead of helping them out. We all in competition with each other. And again, I'm the biggest competitor. Mm-hmm. All right, when we between them lines, let's compete. Let's do it. Definitely. But when we off the field, if I can help you, if I have some type of knowledge, I'm going to share it with you. We all are recycling the same plays, some of the same ideas and resources. So let's help each other grow within the industry. Yeah. So again, going to the AFCA clinic and networking with coaches around the world and going to the National Coalition Clinic for minority coaches, it's a way to connect and grow and help. Exactly. You get what I'm saying? We all know ball. Mm-hmm. We all can talk X's and O's, but the biggest work come off the field. Yep. So again, it's about just helping each other grow.
And with that being said too, man, the more light, the more shine any school in Memphis will get as a whole. Exactly. So it only makes sense to kind of, reach one, teach one. I agree. Just to say, how do you feel about the presence of Memphis football right now, especially with so many teams on the third round of the playoffs? How do it feel to you personally as a coach?
It definitely shows that we're more than a basketball city. Memphis had that stereotype that we're a basketball city. We play some great basketball here. No knock to the basketball players. But we also play some good football here as well. So to have as many teams as we do, to be in the third round, it says a lot about the football, not just in Memphis, but in West Tennessee as a whole, from 1A out to 6A. It's definitely a beautiful thing. However, I do feel like we can be better as far as promoting our kids, as far as collaborating and coming up with innovative ideas to put our student athletes out there, to put our notable coaches out there. It's more that can be done, but I think we head in the right direction.
Most definitely, yes. So speaking of 1A, speaking of the different regions, how do you feel? What's the biggest difference from you, Bolton and 3A, right? Mm-hmm. So what's the difference between Bolton being in 3A and just say the 6A? What challenges did you face that a 6A school will not face?
Yep. Okay. When you look at classification, it's all based on how many kids you have in your school. Mm-hmm. It's not so much so the talent, because you get a team like Fairleigh, They two-way school, but super talented.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? So it's one of those deals where I don't think talent is necessarily the issue. Now, granted, everybody can use more talent, but when it comes to the classification, it's just kids in your school, not so much so your program.
All right. Okay. So since being a coach in general, since being a coach, what has the game of football taught you since being a coach?
Man, like I told my guys all year this year, maximizing opportunities. Here it is. I'm embarking upon almost year 10. I'm 31. I'll be 32 Monday on my birthday, but it's one of those deals where this time go by fast.
Very.
It go by super fast. So I've had an opportunity to pretty much see almost 2 freshman classes come through. That's a long time.
Man.
You get what I'm saying? Even though I left and came back, but it's still kind of the same thing. So my biggest thing is maximizing my time, my opportunities, because nothing lasts forever. You get what I'm saying? And with me having my own kids growing up, playing ball is one of those deals where now my mindset is shifting to the state where, okay, now I got to figure out how can I do what I do as a coach, but also set my kids up to be successful, as they begin to get older as well. So the biggest thing is maximizing opportunities, taking advantage of your time.
Yes, I love that. All right, let's get into it, Coach. So what is your greatest moments since being a head coach?
I had a feeling you was gonna ask me that question. I have a couple greatest moments. My first greatest moment was when I won my first game as a head coach.
Yes, sir.
Man, it was a tough year.
Yes, sir.
We played against Bolton High School at the crib.
How many games you win into?
I won
Just that one game.
And with that game, because Craigmont and Bolton was the only 2 teams in our region, even though we won one game, it made us city champions. So it's one of those deals where the season was rough, but I always preached to my boys since day one that we were gonna be champions. Now, whether or not everybody believe,
yes, sir.
I believe, my staff believe. We had some guys in the program that believe. Everybody didn't believe, I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
So to win that game was cool, because they went on 10 the year before. But to win that game and we be granted city champions after winning that game, that was big. And if I be honest, at first I was like, man, I don't really care for more victories and all that. That was the competitive side of me coming out, and that was the youthfulness coming out as a coach. But looking back on it, that was a pivotal moment in our program to getting us where we are now.
I was going to say that too.
It was very pivotal.
Building that foundation.
Yeah, because again, you can say you're a champion all day, but if you never be crowned a champion or ruled a champion, how do you know you're a champion? Exactly. And with doing that, we want to see it back to back. You get what I'm saying? And we just took off. We took off. Another pivotal moment was my first signing day. Signing my first senior class. I think I signed with 3 guys. Okay. And one, actually, he's still playing right now. He's starting at Southern University, NFL prospect. Look at that. So again, although we won one game, I put 3 guys in school. 2 of them decided to quit playing because they weren't pursuing music, and one is getting to be a veterinarian. Okay. So again,
you close to all 3 of them?
To this day, still talk to him. Yeah. Josh, he texted me the other day. He started safety at Southern University. Like I said, NFL prospect. He can be my first one to get that call.
Where did he sign it initially?
So he signed with Oklahoma. He went JUCO. Had a lot of D1 interest from Marshall when Bowman was there. University of Memphis was on him pretty tough. Yeah. But he didn't have the grades. He had a little mishap early on in his career. So when I came back to Bowes and reconnected with him, we kind of got his mind back shifted in the right direction. He was able to finish strong, went to Oklahoma, balled out, and got a D1 scholarship. His son been balling out there.
So this is junior year right now?
No, he's senior this year.
Senior year, okay. Yes, I love that, man. And how did it make you feel to see him to continue, man, persevere?
It makes me feel great. Like I said, he texted me the other day. He like, Coach, man, I appreciate you, Coach. Like, you stuck with it. You could have left. You could have gave up, but you stood 10 toes down, and you really turned our program around. Yeah. He said our program. Because, again, one thing about me, we a family at Bolton. Yeah. No one man run the show, and no one man stop the show. Not even me as the head coach. I say it all the time. So to see him still keep up even years later and be proud of the success he laid the foundation for, they let me know that we doing it right at Bolton High School.
Yes, sir. I love it. All right, so kind of going back into your playing days a little bit, how do you attack, what's some similar ways that you attack coaching as you did as when you was a player?
Biggest thing is discipline. Even from little league, middle school to high school, every coach I ever played for, they harped on discipline. Definitely. I took a little bit of what I learned from little league as it pertains to like bringing excitement to the games, like fireworks and stuff like that. Yeah. Like people don't believe me, but even growing up playing little league football, our Super Bowls, we played under the lights. Yeah. We had fireworks. I'm used to the team socks, got team bags. We pulling up in stretch limos for homecoming. Parents falling behind us, honking the horns. So we've always done it big where I come from. So that's why our motto as Bolton is committed to doing it big. And we're doing it big, we balancely inducing our goals. Man, we're gonna make it happen no matter what. Yes, sir. I ain't no excuses. I ain't no we ain't got this. No, we're gonna figure it out and get it done. So, the discipline, creating an exciting environment, and the winning coaching. Like, even when I was losing, I was still a winner. Because again, I wasn't losing, I was learning. Yes, you get what I'm saying? It showed me what not to do, what to do, what work, what don't work. Yeah. So I didn't lose. So now we winning. I know how to handle it because I've been a winner all my life.
I love it. I got two more for you. I don't want to keep it too long.
I got all day, man. You good?
All right, so I'm going to challenge you.
Let's go.
So, put you on the spot here. Give me five running backs that you saying this year that you like. It don't got to be the best. It don't got to be.
Put me on the spot. Five running backs.
Just 5 running backs that you like.
Ooh, I done seen some good ones.
From the lens of a former running back.
Definitely got to start with my boy G, Bartlett.
G from Bartlett,
yeah,
okay.
Bartlett, that boy.
What you like? What you see in him? What set him aside?
Man, his patience and his burst.
Okay.
I was able to watch the game they played Whitehaven. Shout out to Salisbury, is my guy.
Yes, sir.
He got a good running back too.
Oh yeah.
But that kid, man, he's so patient. And when he see daylight, he getting up out of there. Did the same thing against Germantown. I was there for that one. That kid, he just got something you can't coach. Yeah. Like a lot of kids you have, like you could teach them certain drills, certain techniques and all that, but when it comes to just playmaker ability, you can't coach that.
Can't teach that at all.
That kid was pretty good. I'm gonna go to a small school.
Okay.
East. I played against that kid.
Number 1?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I seen him. What's his name?
If you hadn't asked me, I would have said it. Oh my God.
My bad. What you like in him? It'll come.
Everything.
What you like? Okay.
Everything. He kind of remind me of the kid at Bartlett, just on the smaller school level. But that kid can play at any level. He can play 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, 5A, or 6A.
Do you think he undersized?
He's a little undersized right now. He only a junior, so he got time to put on a little bit more weight.
Playmaker ability, man.
But the speed, the vision, the explosiveness, I mean, that makes up for where he lacked. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But that kid there, I can't think of his name right now. But that kid there, he's special. He definitely one of the top backs.
That's 2. Give me 3 more.
Wooddale, they had a couple of backs that can go. That was pretty solid. Germantown got a little Larry. I've been watching Larry since he was in Little League. He's a force. He's a force to reckon with. Larry can go. Man, I feel like I'm leaving some people out. I think this year, like I said, the kid at Whitehaven, I'm going to include him. Yeah. He 100, I think he went 110 hurdles, state champion. Yep. And he's a young guy too. Yeah. So like that kid can go. So it's a few more talent, I can name. But this is name. But them kids, man, them kids are what is the name they can go.
So what is it from a defensive? What you think in today's game, man? From a defensive mindset, what's the best way to kind of balance out an offense, especially with so many teams having so many weapons being overloaded? What you think the greatest way to attack it?
First and foremost, you gotta be disciplined fundamentally this time, and that start with lining up. Staying solid in your gap assignments, things of that nature. But the biggest thing is having an answer for everything. Oftentimes, you will find teams like myself who play fast, And when you find those teams that tempo, you might not always be able to look to the sideline and get the call. So one thing I know we did at Bolton, and my DC, he did a great job of preparing for a tempo team and building in calls based on formations and how people line up. And the biggest thing that helped our defense be successful, because we only gave them 9 points a game. That was our average, stopping the run.
Where did they rank? 9 points.
We ranked pretty high in the state this year. I know overall we was ranked number 8 in the state as a team.
Overall.
And I think a lot of that played a part in stopping people and also being able to score too. But the biggest thing is stopping the run. If you can't stop the run, you're gonna lose pretty badly. And that's what hurt us in our playoff game. We did good all year stopping the run, but we played a winning team in Dyersburg. And
smash mouth football,
straight football. And we didn't come play that game, so we let one slip away. But stopping the football, stopping the run is the key to that.
And what you think was the biggest difference outside of, what did you think specifically was the biggest difference? Like, was it the blocking scheme that they had, or what you think?
To be honest, I think what came out for us was the inexperience we had in playing those big games.
Okay.
And I take credit for that. Although 7 of our 10 games was league games, I know moving forward I can do a better job in scheduling some of those bigger, tougher opponents.
Yes, sir.
That'll prepare us for moments like that.
Definitely.
So playing a team like a Whitehaven, who gonna have a solid scheme. They typically have decent sized running backs, and they're gonna have the environment that creates that playoff coaching environment, atmosphere. A game like that, or playing like a Montford or somebody, would allow us to be prepared for those big type field games.
Okay. All right, I got one more for you, Coach. So 3A next year, with y'all, with your specific class, what were some changes in 3A?
I know Lakeland Prep moved up to 4A.
Okay.
Sheffield dropped down to 2A. Melrose, they chose to stay down this year. They've been a 3A number school, but they just played up. They chose to stay down this year.
Okay.
So those were the only 3 changes we had.
Okay. So with those changes, what's your goal? What's Bolton's goal next year?
What
are y'all playing?
We're going to win a region.
Yes, sir.
All right, this year, we technically won a region based on how things played out. But due to the fact that East had to forfeit some games, I think for playing an ineligible player, however they worked out, that cost us the region championship.
Wow.
So it was a three-way tie between us, Sheffield, and East. All right, so East beat Sheffield, Sheffield beat us, we beat East. So Sheffield ended up winning because they gave them their win back, which made them undefeated. So we only had one loss to Sheffield, and instead of us being number 1, we ended up being region runner-up for the 2nd year in a row. So we was kind of upset about that because we feel like we did everything in our power to win and do what we supposed to do, which we did. And I feel like unfortunate events took that away. So we definitely hungry about coming back and winning that region, which we're going to do.
East look good over there. What you think about East?
Oh, East, man. G, he's one of the pivotal people who helped get me the line, believe it or not. He did a great job, this year at East with all those things they had to battle before the season. I'm not gonna get into that because again, it had nothing to do with me. It's not my program. But I think he was able to do a good job
under
all them circumstances, being able to win 8 games. That's impressive, especially his first year head coach. That's impressive. So that game was kind of like a little personal rival game because we know each other.
Exactly.
Have a decent relationship.
Many more years to come.
Yeah, so it's one of those deals where we knew that game was a championship. So again, my guys were able to get it done that game, so they have all that going our favor, and then it be taken away for something we can't control. Like, man, that hurt. So again, can't cry about it. It is what it is. Like I said, we don't lose.
What's the saying? Y'all control what y'all can control. But
we did that, but like I said, so in my eyes, we reading champs. But on paper, it is what it is. We wasn't. So next year, we plan to make it known that we reading champs is not gonna be close.
Oh yeah, yes, put it away. So anything you got for the football community, Memphis? You wanna?
Man, first shout out to you, man. I appreciate the platform.
Yes, sir.
You allowed me to come in and talk with you. I really enjoy myself. But to the Memphis platform, man, let's keep coming together. Let's do what we do. Let's do our best to help promote each other. You know, compete when it's time to compete, but uplift and promote when it's time to do that as well. I definitely believe that the balance is necessary, not only for us as coaches, but more importantly for our student athletes. And if you have a coach come by your school, don't be afraid to mention another school that you may play against, you may know.
Of course.
Prime example, Cumberland came by yesterday to talk about some of my guys. I made sure I highlighted, you know, guys I played against or guys who I named today that I might know of, they can use. So to the football community, man, let's stay competitive, do what we do, but most importantly, man, let's uplift and help these kids.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, Coach CJ, for coming hollering at me.
Yes, sir.
All right, we out.
All right.